This is our 2012 Insurance Fraud and Auto Theft Conference. We have brought folks, professionals from all aspects of the investigation and prosecution of insurance fraud together from all over America, actually, and we'll spend the full day here presenting and answering questions regarding the latest and greatest in the uncovering of insurance fraud and the prosecution of those involved in insurance fraud, and I might add the recovery of ill-gotten gains and perhaps even the imposing of monetary penalties on those convicted and found guilty of such fraud. It's a big problem. It costs the annual household in Louisiana $950 a year in additional insurance premium as a result of out-and-out fraud or even just what looks like innocent cheating on an insurance claim. The information is that insurance fraud is the second most prevalent and expensive criminal activity in America, second only to tax fraud. And we can understand how that would be the case with widespread belief that, well, I pay my premiums, I'm entitled to get it back if I can exaggerate this claim. That's not true. That's criminal activity, and we see that on a widespread basis, but we also focus on those who are what you would call involved in out-and-out criminal activity, like the theft of autos or the burglarizing of autos. Auto theft is down 37% over the past 4 years. We think that's in large part due to license plate readers and other technology that has made it easier for law enforcement to apprehend those involved in auto theft. Auto burglaries, however, continue to be a problem, and the public needs to be aware of the requirement that they, A, lock their vehicles, and B, that they not leave valuables out in the open where they can become an attraction for those who are willing to break a windshield or pry open a vehicle or even open an unlocked door in order to steal a laptop or a cell phone or an iPad that's left in plain view. Thank all of you who have traveled to Baton Rouge to be with us this morning and all day for our deliberations and discussions and mutual efforts to address this second largest criminal activity in our society, insurance fraud. It really is quite a burden to homeowners and other consumers of insurance nationwide. I always get a lot of comments when we put our billboards up that have the $950 amount in large letters, and people notice it and say it's incredible to think that much cost is being borne by each household on an annual basis as a result of insurance fraud. Since we created LATIFPA, and I understand Senator Marish, the original author and now the chairman of the Senate Insurance Committee, will be with us today. In 2004, he authored the legislation that created LATIFPA, and that's the Louisiana Automobile Theft and Insurance Fraud Prevention Authority. It has worked to reduce vehicle theft rates in Louisiana through various education initiatives, public awareness campaigns, and other aggressive efforts, including the mobilization of bait cars and license plate readers around the state.
It is an arm that allows the Department of Insurance to raise money through donations. We also get money from the legislature for, a billboard campaign and other campaigns we do to educate the populace about insurance fraud, how they can report it, how they can detect it, help to ferret it out, because it does have an effect on your premium. And the other side is help us with a cooperative endeavor with the National Insurance Crime Bureau, where we do bait cars and especially license plate readers that have become the rage right now to help us capture stolen cars, stolen license plates and the like. And it's been a big tool.
There's an awful lot of fraud that's going on now with our economic times, and what we're seeing, we're being flooded with, is a lot of credit card abuse by employees or by friends and other family members. And right now, the Sheriff's Office, City Police, are overwhelmed with this credit card abuse.
Just what is your office able to do?
Well, we try to get restitution, and it's often difficult because these people are stealing for a reason. They generally have some issues, some problem, and it makes it difficult for them to pay back restitution. So we would like to try to make the victim whole. In addition to that, we'd like to educate the public and the people to tell them, be careful with your checks, be careful with your credit card, who you give it to, who you give access to your credit cards. It's significant.
Do you see this as a crime that's growing in this area?
There's no question. It's probably the biggest growing crime that we see is financial crimes.
How can people protect themselves?
Well, just look at your bank statement all the time. Look at your credit card statements. Make sure you know who you're giving access to your credit card. Make sure you have 2 signatures on checks, not 1. Just common sense approach.
It's a really big problem. Many of the drug diversion problems started up in the coal mining areas with drugs like OxyContin, and now that has spread. It's a systemic problem all over the United States. We certainly see it here in Louisiana. Some of the bigger fraud schemes are more prevalent in the Miamis, Los Angeles, those types of areas. But slowly but surely, even those scams come in and infiltrate our area as well.
What would you like to see happen? What needs to be done?
What needs to be done? Partnership is the biggest thing. When we all join together, join forces, instead of when we stop somebody when a state trooper stops somebody on the interstate and finds that the person has 300 tablets of OxyContin in their pocket, rather than just prosecuting that person for having a controlled dangerous substance that they shouldn't have, we need to take that case one step further and see, where did that person get the drugs? Are they selling the drugs to the next person? Does that blow up into a big national case? So collaboration is the answer to the whole problem.
The vast amounts of money that occur in the healthcare system draws natural fraudsters who are attempting to take the money that they think belongs to them or they're trying to take from the system. It happens in many ways. You have entrepreneurs, you have physicians, licensed physicians who just otherwise want more money than what they're entitled to, and so our job is to try to identify that, keep that fraud down to a minimum. As you may have heard nationally, the federal government has recently kicked off an initiative called the Fraud Prevention Partnership. It is a first time ever collaboration between the federal government and private payers in an attempt to fight this problem in a more significant way than has ever previously been done. It's finally a realization that healthcare fraud is a major factor in the overall cost of healthcare in our system.
What are some of the most common types of healthcare fraud?
The most typical is you may go to a doctor for a 30-minute visit and see a bill for an hour. You may find that a physician or a doctor or otherwise gave you 3 things during the course of your treatment but billed for 4 or 5. We even see situations where a patient didn't make an appointment or never intended to go to a physician, and yet still a bill was incurred and sent on to the insurance company. We see many cases, however, in entrepreneurial scenarios where entrepreneurs are providing what we call durable medical equipment. Could be a wheelchair, could be blood sticks for diabetic patients and things of that nature that are sent as supplies, not needed. Patients are not requesting them, but they are billed to the insurance companies.
Social media is a rapidly growing area of law. It is critical to use social media when detecting fraud. If you're not using it, you are sleuthing while impaired. And so my message for the conference attendees is going to be giving them concrete examples of using social media to further their goals of detecting fraud and investigating fraud.
We're going to make sure that the insurance companies know that we're going after fraud, we're combating it in every angle that we can, and we're also going to let them know about the new Civil Fraud Prevention Act that took effect based off of Representative Officer Sledge and Johnson with the insurance department when they were slain back in Ville Platte about 1.5 years ago. With the new act in their name, we're going to now start going after them not only criminally but civilly, and we want to make sure that when we put our reports together that we're also remembering that now we can go after 3 times the pursued benefit, and I think that's going to be important to the industry because the industry now is going to be able to collect their monies back for any investigative costs or and again get $10,000 for each demand that false fraudster was trying to take from them. So we're looking forward to it, and it's just started up August 1st, and we got our folks from the AG's office. We're separate, so we got a criminal unit and a civil unit now. And the good thing is we get to bring all our actions right here in the 19th JDC, and we got a good cooperation with the district attorney, Hiller Moore, who's also going to be on the panel with me later on today. And we just want the folks to know that, hey, we're working hard for them, and whatever we can do to help the insurance industry, that's what we're going to do. And one of the main ways is to keep premiums down for all Louisianians, and that's by combating the fraud.
The main thing that I'm assigned to is homeowners and commercial building arson cases are cases of suspicious fires that need further investigation and determination. Not necessarily that it is an arson, but we need to determine what the cause of the fire is and to see if our coverages are applicable.
How common a problem is that?
I think it's a large problem in Louisiana. I think it is nationwide, but Louisiana, we do have a lot of fire cases, and we involve a lot of expert witnesses with expert testimony, and it's important that we get to the fire scenes, investigate the fire scenes, and make those kind of determinations to see if further investigation is needed.
When today's conference is over, what's the message? What would you like people to keep in mind?
I would like the public to know that this is a very expensive criminal activity that's affecting them in a large way on an annual basis, $950 per household here in Louisiana, and that they should do their part in trying to prevent that from happening. Report insurance fraud when they're suspicious of it, and be aware of the fact that they should take steps to protect their assets, such as locking doors in their vehicles and not leaving valuables out in the open to be an attraction for those who are willing to steal or burglarize vehicles and homes and other activity of a similar nature that has a significant burden, financial burden, on all of the folks of our great state.
Are you encouraged by everything that you've heard and seen here today?
Positively. We had a great turnout, over 300 attendees at today's conference, and technology, including social media that was addressed in this morning's presentation, is enabling us to much better address insurance fraud, monitor it, find it out, prosecute it, and bring to justice those who are involved in it.
If people have questions or like more information, what should they do?
Two things. Call us if you have a question you need to discuss with us at 1-800-259-5300. Go to our website, www.ldi.la.gov, where we have a link to allow you to report suspected insurance fraud over the internet. Again, however, if you want to discuss it or ask questions about your concerns, feel free to contact us by phone at 1-800-259-5300.